Hey everybody, it's Jake Tapper from CNN State of the Union and factcheck.org, and this week we're going to take a look at a comment Senator Ted Cruz made comparing himself with Senator Bernie Sanders when it came to campaign money and who their money comes from. Take a listen.
This is the year of the outsider. I'm an outsider. Bernie Sanders is an outsider. Both with the same diagnosis, but both with very different paths to healing. Millions of Americans have chosen one of these outsiders. Our campaigns don't find our fuel in bundlers and special interests, but rather directly from the people.
Is that true? Is Cruz like Sanders when it comes to receiving his money not from bundlers or special interests, but from the people? It's a stretch. Bernie Sanders opposes super PACs. These are groups that can raise unlimited amounts of money from big donors. Cruz, by contrast, has the support of a network of super PACs, and he uses this network not only for advertising, but for support at rallies. These super PACs include Keep the Promise 1, which was formed with $11 million from the co-CEO of a private hedge fund firm. Keep the Promise 2, which received $10 million in funding from an energy investor. And Keep the Promise 3, which raised nearly all of its $16.5 million in contributions from one family that made its money by selling rigs to fracking operations. In total, the outside groups supporting Cruz have raised $53 million, almost as much as Cruz's candidate committee, which has raised $66 million, according to the Center for Responsive Politics. In addition, Cruz's National Finance Committee of his campaign offers special bundling benefits depending on how much an individual brings into the campaign. So, for example, founders, that's the term, who raise at least $500,000, $500,000, receive, among other benefits, an invitation to a special retreat with Ted Cruz and his wife Heidi. Another measure of a candidate's populist appeal is the percentage of small donations that a campaign receives. By small, we're talking about donors who give $200 or less than that. As of February 29th of this year, Sanders had received $76.7 million in these small donations. That's 56% of his campaign funds, more than half. By comparison, the Cruz campaign has received $17.4 million in small donations. That accounts for 28% of his total fundraising haul, about a quarter. Cruz on that score is closer to Hillary Clinton, who's raised 21% of her funds from small donations. Cruz, believe it or not, even lags behind Donald Trump when it comes to small donations. Small donations represent 74% of his total fundraising amount, this analysis showed. Trump, of course, is an outlier because he has loaned his campaign $17.5 million as of January 31st, so he does rely less on donations. So the bottom line here, when it comes to raising money from the people and not bundlers or special interests, there is a huge difference between Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Bernie Sanders. A reminder to all you politicians out there, you're perfectly entitled to your own opinions, just not to your own facts. I'm Jake Tapper for CNN State of the Union and factcheck.org.
Say here you are in New York City trying to raise money from executives at the biggest banks.
Look, we'll take money from anyone. In fact, Andrew, I would love a check right now.
Look, we'll take money from anyone. In fact, Andrew, I would love a check right now.
Ted Cruz is just like any other politician. He says one thing in Manhattan, he says another thing in Iowa, he says whatever he needs to say to get elected, and then he's going to do as he pleases. I think the American people are tired of the political class that promises much